In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to create a custom user authentication model in Django. As you already know, Django is a Python framework for web development. It's a very powerful and easy to use framework. Django framework comes with a built-in user model which has the normal authentication requirements fit that can be useful when building a small application or a simple website. But when building a more advanced application or a complex website, there may be needs for you to create your own user model to suit your own authentication needs. Like the normal built-in user authentication system in Django uses the username field as the login parameters. And you agree with me that in modern applications, the email field is preferable as the login parameters. So in the course of this tutorial series, we are going to be building a complete user authentication system using a custom user model. So if you are completely new to Django, I strongly advise you check up some beginner tutorials on Django on YouTube, or you can head over to the Django official website. It has a very comprehensive documentation you can read through, and it's going to be a series, so subscribe so you get updates when I upload subsequent videos. So without wasting much of our time, let's head over to our terminal and create our first Django project. Alright, note, before you can work with Django, you have to have Python installed in your system. So you don't have Python installed, you can go to the Python docs, Python official website, and download the latest version of Python. And Python comes with the pip package for us to install Python related applications or Python framework. So once you have Python installed, you can install a virtual environment on your system by using the pip install virtual environment. So once you install your virtual environment, this will allow us to create virtual environment in our system, or you can use the pip env if you have a pip env, but we're going to be using virtual environment. So once you have that installed, I've already had mine installed, so I'm not going to run this command again. So once you've installed Python, you've installed your virtual environment. Next is for us to create our virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, you please type in your virtual env, then followed by your environment name. So we're going to call this DJ env. Alright, so this will create our virtual environment for us. Okay, our virtual environment has been created successfully. So to activate it, we simply cd into the env we just created. Then inside this folder, it comes with a folder called script. So you cd into script. Then you use the activate command. This is how it is done on Windows. I believe in Mac you have to place in it's different in Mac. When activating your virtual environment in Mac is kind of different. You can just check that up on Google and see how it is done. Alright, we have our virtual environment installed already, so let's quickly head back to the folder where we want to put in our Django project. Okay, I have a folder already called YouTube. This we are going to put in our Django project. So first we're going to install the Django package by just saying pip install Django. So this will install our Django for us. We install the latest version of Django, which is 3.0.7 at this moment. Okay, Python package has finished installing, so we've installed Python already. So what we're going to do is to create a Django. Sorry, I said a pattern. We've installed Django already. Sorry about that. So next is to create a Django project. To do that, we simply type in the Django-admin command, start project, and the name of our project, you can call it any name. Let's say let's call it custom dash user, sorry, underscore user. Okay, so this will create a Django project for us. So we can open this up in our code editor. I'm using Visual Studio Code. You can use any other editor, the one you prefer. Alright. Okay, these are Django project. You can see the manage.py script. So what next is to create our Django app. So let's cd into the custom underscore user. Then we create our app by saying python manage.py, which is the Django script that we just saw. Then start app. Let's call this app account. You can call it account, you can call it user account, whatever name you choose. Okay, so this will create a account folder. So if you check it back in your, once you head over to the custom user, you can see the account folder, which is the app we just created. Alright, cool. Okay, so we are having a clean slate of Django project and Django app. So we head over to our account app and we head over to the model. So for us to create a custom user model, we have to import two classes from the Django framework, which are the abstract base user and the base user manager. So we will say from Django.contrib.auth.model. So we import the abstract my spelling is correct. Sorry, it's supposed to be models, not model. Yeah, abstract base user and the base user manager. So create our own class. You can call it any name you want. We'll call it my user, so which is going to inherit the abstract base user. So what this abstract base user class does is it provides us with the core functionalities of a user authentication system, like the password hashing, the session storing and recognizing sessions, and the tokenizing password reset, and all those functionalities of your authentication system. So the abstract base user provides us with those functionalities. So our class is inheriting from this abstract base user class. So next we define our feeds, the feeds we want for our user authentication system. So I'm going to create the email feed, which is going to be models.email feed, and we're going to have verbose. So we're going to define verbose name for it equals to the email feed, or call it email address. Alright, I'm going to define the mask length for it. We'll set it to 60. Then we'll set it unique property to true. Alright, so set in any other feeds that you want. Let's say we have company name. I'm just trying to think of a custom name, company name. we also taking models dot char feed, also give it a verbose name, set it to let's say company name, also setting the mass length, set to 200, also make it unique because a business name is supposed to be unique. Okay, let's say we have a phone number, want a phone number, and then we use models the char feed, set the mass length equals to 20, and then alright, you can also set a verbose name for it. Call it company number, company phone. Okay, and we put in the some important fields that are necessary for a Django model, which is the date join. Date join is going to be a model dot date time, in the date time also we're going to set in the auto underscore now underscore add equals to true, talking about the day the user joins the app or sign into the app. So we can also set a verbose name for it if you want to. Setting verbose name equals to call it date join. I keep making errors. Date join. Alright, and then other field we have last login, also datetime feed, also the same verbose name, which is last login. Also going to set in the auto underscore now to true. Okay, there are some important field also, which is the is admin feed. There are more, let me just quickly write them out. Is active, we're going to define all of them later. We have is staff, is superuser, okay, and these are model and these are boolean feeds. We're going to set the default. Is admin default is false. We don't want every user that sign into our app to have access to the admin. Then is active. So we're going to set the default to true. So when user signs into the app, it becomes an active member of the site. Then is staff. We don't want every user to be staff. It's also going to be a boolean feed. which has the default also to false. Then same for the super user, default also false. Alright, so whatever extra feed that you want to put in your user model, you can as well define them here, but the most necessary feed that you must add to your model are the date join, last login is admin, is active, is staff, and is super user. They are essentials to any user model. Alright, then next what we need to do is to define the feed we want to use to log in into our app, and Django calls that the username underscore feed, username underscore feed, which is equals to a string. So what this username underscore feed defines the feed in our model that we want to use as our login feed. So let's say we want to use the email as our login feed. So then next we are also going to define the require feeds. Okay, this is going to be the list of feeds that we've defined that we want to be required, that want to require of the user. We have the company name. Every user must provide what? Every user must provide the company name. Also, they must provide their phone number, which we define also. We just type in. Alright, so these are the fields that will be required of the user. The date join is provided automatically when user sign up, login also. All these ones are provided. So these are the feed that is required. Then the login feeds that we define, we don't need to add it to it because it's already required automatically. So if we define any other feed, probably like first name, last name, or whatever feed that you want to be required of the user, you add it to the required feeds. Okay, so then we'll define then our string function, which will be the default for the model, the default display for the model. So we want it to return self dot, let's say the company name. Okay, that's for that. And next we're going to define some function also, like the permission function. So we're going to define the function called has underscore permi. What this function normally does is talking about if the user that's signing up is going to have any permission that we're going to define later, probably when you are using group to define permission for your user. So it's talking about if the signing user is going to have any kind of permission. So this should just return true. Okay, that's for the permission. Then we have another one called, keep getting this error, has underscore module underscore module permissions. So what this function is about is if the sign in user or sign up user is going to have access to other models that we're going to define in this app. We are defining the user model. Probably when we are building our app, we have other models, probably like a product model, customer model, and all that. So if this user is going to have access to those models, so that's what this has model permission is all about. And this is going to take in safe, and sorry about that, and the app underscore label. Okay, and this is simply going to return true also. Okay, next we're going to create a manager for the my user model, so which is also going to be a class. So above the my user class that we define for model, we create another class, and we can call it any name we want. By convention, you can use your model name followed by manager. Alright, which is also going to inherit from our base user manager. So this manager is going to define the method that's going to create our user. We have two methods, which is the create underscore user method, which is going to take in self our username feed, which is the feed we defined here, the email. So it's going to take in the self, then the email, then followed by the required fields that we defined also, which is we have the company name, and also we have phone, and lastly we're going to pass in the password also, which we set to none. Sorry. Okay, so we'll set some validation check. Let me create some space here. What the hell is wrong with Visual Studio Code? Alright, then we'll check for errors. We said if not email, as if the user did not provide any email and the submit button is clicked, we raise a value error with a message that says email is required. And also we'll check if not company name, also raise also the value error saying the company name is required. So also create for if not phone, also raise an error. You can say please provide an active phone number. Alright, so as many feed that you passed into your required feed, you also make sure you create a validation check for it. Alright, so what this check is actually saying that if provided the user failed to provide an email, it should raise this error, or if fails to provide the company name or the phone number, which are the required field, and this error should be raised. Alright, that's the very first step. Then once we finish that, we create our user. If everything is alright, the user provide everything, we create a user using the self.model so passing our parameters into it, which are the email will be equals to self dot normalize email. What this normalized email does is actually to format our email using the proper email format. That the art must be provided .com or whatever the name will be. Alright, so that's for that. And then we also have the company name, which also equals to the company name. We'll put a comma here, sorry. Then we have the phone, phone also equals to the phone number that was passed into the function. Alright, that's for that. Then here we'll call the save and user dot set underscore password, which we pass in the password argument to it. So once we pass in the password, then what next is to save the user by saying user.save, then using equals to save dot underscore db, return the user. Alright, so the create user function takes in the username feed and the required name and required feeds, check for their, validate them. After validating them, then creating the user in the model, setting the password also that was provided, and saving them to the default model, which is the model of this class, returning the user. So that's for that. So next we'll find the create super user function, also a method, whatever you want to call it, can be called method or function, which is also going to take in the self, the email, and all the required fields as well. We should have the class in the password also, just like the way we did it in the quasar function. Okay, so we're going to create the super user, create a variable called user, set equals to self dot create user. So we're calling the create user function that we defined in the before, which we're going to pass in the required feed, which is the email. So the super user should provide an email, also provide a company name and the phone number. So these are the feeds that the and also the password. What am I doing? Sorry, goes to company. Alright, so the super user is going to provide these also, and also is going to provide the, for the super user we're also going to change the function of the value of the admin, set it to true, because all super users are admin, and then also change the user dot is super user, set it also to true. So we're going to save the user, saying the user.save, also using equals to save dot underscore db, and we also return the user. Alright, guess that's all for. Alright, so what we'll do next is we have to tell this model the manager. So we have to point the manager to this model by setting the object equals to the manager we just created by saying my user manager. Okay, so the model knows the manager is its own manager, which is this manager we just defined, Alright, that's all for the user model. Lest I forget, we've not added the app that we created, which is the account app, to our settings. So head over to our settings and then go to our installed apps and add the account app we created. Alright, and then you can save this and leave here. Okay, next we'll make our migrations. Sorry, lest I forget, before making migrations, we have to let Django know that we are no longer using the default user model but our custom user model. So we'll head over to our settings, and in our settings we'll set the auth underscore model. You can set it anywhere. Let's set it here. We'll set the value for auth underscore model, auth underscore user model. I will set it to the app name followed by the model we just created, which is called my user. So this is very important, don't forget this. I must forget to do it before running migration. Make sure you point to the user model before running your migration. Sorry, this should be in string. So we are setting the auth underscore user model equals to this model we just created. So if you fail to do this, your code will not work because Django will not know that there's a custom user model, so you still use the default one. So once you do that, and make sure we save it. Alright, so when we run our migration, let me double check it gets okay. I think everything is okay. So next we head over to our terminal and run our migration by calling python manager.py. Make migration. Okay, say creating model my user. So next we run the python manage.py migrate. Wow, that was good. So we've migrated already. So we can create our super user now by also running the python manage.py create super, just to enter our email, just the way we defined our feed. So we'll say email, let's say email at admin@gmail.com. It asks for company name, which was the field we also defined. So let's call the company name, let's say Henry's IT solution. Company's phone number, we can write any phone number. This is not my phone number, I'm just writing some random numbers. Okay, then password. So Django will not show you the password, but it's actually working. And then you see super user created successfully. That means our super user is created successfully. So let's quickly run our app by saying python manage.py run server. Okay, our app has started. Now to our browser and run this port, open this port and head over to our admin. We'll see the model we just created, but we won't see that until we add it to our model, to our admin. So here we have to import from accounts dot model. We have to import the my user model. Then we have to register it by saying admin dot site dot register, passing in the my user. So save this and head over to our terminal. Let's quickly try and create a because we've not created any view, so we show the default Django homepage. So we head over to the admin. Then we can sign up with the email we just created, which is admin@gmail.com. That's the admin we just created, and we have the password. I enter the password. Please enter a correct email and password for a staff account. Note that both fields may be case sensitive. Let me enter again. admin@gmail.com. I guess that's the feed I entered. Yes, admin@gmail.com. Alright, then the password. Okay, I'm getting some errors. Let me quickly debug our code, and I went back to the code and I went through it, and we didn't set the is_staff to true. I believe that may be because of the error, so I turned that to true. And also the email for the create _superuser, we didn't normalize it before, so I normalized that email. Then that's all I did, so I saved it. So for us to do that, we have to delete our initial migration that we made. So head over to the migration file folder here, and then this initial migration, delete the initial migration. Then the database file, delete it. That's also we head over again to our terminal and remigrate by creating Python. Okay, let's say Python. Okay, then we create our superuser again by saying Python. Okay, prompt us to enter an email, so we say admin@company.com. Company name, let's give phone. Okay, superuser created successfully. Python manage.py start and run server. Okay, head over and refresh. Okay, let's refresh one more time. Alright, let's enter the email, which is admin@company.com. then password. Alright, we are logged in. You can see my user model we just created, which is the account in the account app. If we enter now, you can see the name. The reason why we are getting the name of the company, because we set the string parameter here, the string function to be self.company name. That's how we are getting the company name. Alright, I'll end this video here. We'll continue from next video. We'll have to like customize the admin, then create a registration view. Alright, so subscribe and hit the notification button so that you get notified when I upload the next video.